Welcome to the Unlocking with Ermi podcast. I'm Ermi, your host and guide into the world of spirit, intuition, and soulful insights. If you're here, you're likely looking to expand your spiritual journey, connect with loved ones on the other side, or just find some clarity and inspiration. Well, you're in the right place. In each episode, we'll explore powerful insights, dive into fascinating spiritual topics, and share real stories that open doors to new perspectives. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just feeling curious, I'm here to make these connections accessible, relatable, and meaningful to you. So grab a cozy spot, open your heart, and let's get started. All right, guys, welcome back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Unlocking with Ermi. And I have a new amazing guest today, you guys. One of my friends I love. Karen, Spill the Tarot, you guys. She is going to be my guest for today, for this episode. And I definitely want to have her introduce herself because she's amazing. I mean, I can give her a whole dialogue about her because she's such a great friend. But I want you guys to, hear what Karen has to say as far as her introduction. Because listen, that's my girl. Okay, go ahead, Karen.
So I'm Karen, and I am Spill the Tarot on, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all that. So I am a tarot reader. I am a healer. So I am a master in many modalities. I also teach tarot, and I am a developing medium. I feel like when I say those words, it means more than just those things. So yeah.
Okay, all right. Y'all, if y'all don't know, I definitely got to say this. Me and Karen started doing mediumship together around the same time. So it'll be almost 3 years, Karen. I think it'll
Probably
be 3 years of us,
think.
tapping in and developing psychic mediums when she's truly developed, y'all. So don't listen to that.
No.
But I do want to go ahead and get us started, Karen. I want to know what was the first time, or when did you realize that you had these abilities, psychic abilities, or able to tap in as a medium? Like, when was that first moment for you?
Yeah, I was young. I was probably like 6 or 8. It's fuzzy, but I remember seeing someone over my brother's crib or whatever kind of bed it was, because he was small, maybe 1. And I thought, who is that? And I would close my eyes and I'm like, please go away, please go away, please go away. And sometimes I did, and sometimes I didn't. And I would just, turn and put the covers over my head. So I think that really was the beginning. And also the fact that I was so in tune with everybody's energy, and I didn't understand it because I was way too young. And then when I became around 12 or 13, visions, premonitions, seeing my great grandparents die, knowing when they were going to die. I think that really was scary for both me and my family. They're like, you're too young. You shouldn't be thinking like this. I'm like, I'm not thinking, I'm seeing. So I knew at that point I was different. In my mind at that age, you don't want to be different.
Right.
You feel like you should just be like every other kid. And I just wasn't. I knew when kids would come into school that their parents maybe was abusive to them or whatever was happening. And I didn't know how to handle that. So it was a lot for me, emotionally and physically, because I think I think about it then, and I would get stomach aches. I would get headaches. And I think that was because of all that. It was a lot of stress for a young kid.
Right.
And of course, we were brought up religious, right? We were brought up extremely Catholic. I was in youth groups, Bible studies, you name it. I was there. This doesn't mix. As you know.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to it because, of course, I come from a Bible-based background as well. So, religion was a big, big part of my growing up. But I know that you're also, your culture plays a big factor because I remember you guys, again, this is one of my friends, you guys. So I kind of know a little bit about her.
Yeah.
And she did share a photo of her in a white dress. What was that, Karen?
That was a procession, a Holy Ghost procession, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the Catholic religion the church I belonged to was very Portuguese. Like they had masses in Portuguese, masses in English, and that was part of the tradition. People would take this Holy Ghost, which was a crown, and they would decorate it in their houses, and it would go from house to house, and then you'd be part of this procession, and you had to be virgin, all in white, and we know
Mm.
it may be white, but we know it doesn't mean diddly.
How old were you when you had that?
Probably between 11 and I want to say I stopped around 15. I'd had enough.
Oh, okay. So this is something that you did every year?
I did, yeah, sometimes twice, three times,
Oh,
depends.
wow.
Depends on the people that would know you and they would enlist you. But part of that was when I was 16 as well. They have this thing where they choose like the most. I don't want to. I didn't make it. You had to be. You had to be like very. You had to encompass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being a good Christian and keeping your mouth shut and not having opinions. And you know me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, very
yeah,
opinionated.
I didn't make it. And that was at 16. I didn't make it. And I didn't expect to make it. Even that my name was even put in, I was actually shocked.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's like part of that. Meh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. So do you think that with you being very vocal, that you're a very vocal person, were you able to establish more of a connection with spirit in that way, being vocal with your loved ones? Because I know, you know, having our loved ones that people love, we want them to love everything about us. So when you became more in the spiritual spaces, how did that work out for you and your family?
Well, they were scared. Don't tell me. I don't want to hear it. You know, it's your imagination.
Mhm.
I didn't care. And I'm glad
Mhm.
because it was a release for me not to hold it to myself. And then after a little while, like late teens, like closer to like 19, 20, my family was like, hey, she just knows stuff and we just have to listen, and because I was adamant about this is what I see, this is what I know, and how do I know this? How did I know this was going to happen?
Right, right. So you were
Details.
right, exactly. Definitely heavily intuitive, definitely from the get-go. Um, with that, how did this lead you or guided you towards Reiki or energy healing? Like how did that connection?
Yeah. I felt since again a young age that if, of course, when you're small, you think magic, right? Like you can
Mm-hmm.
make stuff happen, right? But for me, it was like if I touched it, I could make it better. Like I just had this vision in my mind, and as I became like mm, early 20s and being a hairdresser, it was so important to me to make people feel good about themselves. And sometimes it was just a touch
Mm.
on their shoulders. And I realized, that what I had thought when I was a little bit younger is now being translated, even just by touching their shoulders, making them feel loved and cared for. And it was healing to them.
Mm.
And then as time went on, I realized that it was something I didn't understand. I was ignorant to. We didn't have the internet
Mm.
like we do. So it was like, what books can I get? I didn't have any resources. I
Mhm.
had no one
Right.
to turn to, right? And the people around my area that you could turn to are known as scammers.
Mm.
So I couldn't, there was no community at all. And then on a piece of property that I owned when I was younger. I used to prove to myself that I could bring things back to life by almost killing them. like plants and flowers.
Okay.
I would, if once I spent a lot of money on them, I would say, I'm going to give that another day until it completely looks dead and it's like on the ground. And then I would sit with it and I would gingerly water it and I would touch it and do all kinds of things with it. I didn't know what I was doing.
Wow.
No
Yeah.
clue. And by the end of the day, that was completely back to life.
Wow.
Even the plants in the house, I'd be like, I'm sick of you. You're dead. You're gone. I don't want you anymore. I'm over it. And I would bring them back to life. And like, son of a bitch, I knew I could do it.
Oh my God. So you really did push yourself. So would you consider yourself like, okay, I love that you did that. You pushed yourself to see if you can do it. So that shows me that you are a great healer. And a lot of people don't realize that they all can do it because you believed it. I believe I could do
I
it.
knew it.
See how far I can go. And then let me push myself to see if I can actually put life back into this thing.
Exactly. I know it sounds
Freaking
a
love
little
that.
bit
No, no,
off.
no. It's literally what a lot of people don't understand that they can do as well. So I don't know if that kind of led you in the Reiki direction,
It
but that's
did.
definitely giving me magic. Like it's giving me magical. And when I know the word magical and where it came from as far as being a witch, like
Yeah,
would you consider that connection to be true to itself? Like true, you're a witch. Would that be
exactly.
would you take that as a title for yourself? Being a
I
magical
talked
woman?
to another friend of mine that is witchy,
Hmm.
and I said, I'm not your typical witch where I know where I belong in the kitchen and
Hmm.
I don't know any of that. And I don't really, it's not that I don't care. I'm interested and I've read about it, but I'm not going to put myself in a box.
Hmm.
Because I think like alchemy and I'm amazed by it all. I
Yeah.
think we're all magical beings.
Right.
Yes, am I a witch? I feel like I am since I was a kid. I
Hmm.
could just make shit happen.
Yep.
Um, and so, yeah, I could take the title, but I wouldn't, I'm not uh, developed in groups or in classes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And you don't have a coven.
no, no,
Not a part of a coven.
no.
But I know a lot of people, like you said, it's so many aspects to witches and witchcraft
Kitchen witch,
and
green witch, blah, blah, blah. And
right,
yeah,
right. So
no.
many aspects to it. It's like you're able to just do it all. Just let me I
Yes,
could do it all. But let me test myself to see how far I can go. I
exactly. And
love that, Karen.
in the Bible, or if you've been brought up as I know you have been,
Mhm.
what are those things? They're spells.
Right, right.
So I took some of the things that I remembered
Hmm.
from my religious part of life, um, and would use them to my
Yep.
own benefit, or I would rearrange it,
Hmm.
still calling in the higher power, still calling in God,
Hmm.
and doing my thing.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so I love that that you say that you still call in God, you still have that connection with God. Would you say God for you is just spirit? Or what
Uh,
is God to you? The all-knowing, universal, like what is that?
it's funny you say that because I often fight a little bit with that in my head
Hmm.
because I feel like God is the is it.
Hmm.
And then I'll say, but what spirit? And
Hmm.
I think spirit is God. Spirit
Hmm.
is still God. So I try to see if I'm changing my mind as the time goes on, but I'm
Hmm.
really not. I still
Right.
feel like it's all connected. I feel like we have God, and then we have all these trees of life that come
Hmm.
down, and I'm just part of the tree.
Yeah.
And so is whatever spirit he allows me to bring in.
Right. Right. I agree with that too. I definitely agree with that.
Mhm.
I definitely agree with that. So when it comes to Reiki, and people that don't know what Reiki is, what is Reiki exactly? And what is the the type of Reiki? I don't want to say type because I know you do more a deeper type of
Yes.
Reiki. So could you explain what that is and what is it that you do as far as that type of Reiki?
Yeah, sure. So as far as Reiki goes, Reiki is energy healing, and everything in this world is energy. It's all about intention. No matter what type of Reiki you do, what type of healing you do, people have. I do healing codes. I do this light language.
Hmm.
It's all encompasses the same thing,
Hmm.
intention, right? And
Hmm.
if people who pray can understand that my prayer is my intention that you get better or
Hmm.
blessed or whatever it is, it is the same for me because I always call on God first.
Mm-hmm.
So healing comes with the receiver, the client, being open to it and being part of their own healing. We're just conduits.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who ever tells you differently,
right,
they're anyway. I think that what needs to be understood is that the intention of the healer has to be embedded in a good healer is not one who just learns Reiki. A good healer is a person who understands the emotions and the body parts and everything that goes with it, the mental part of it,
mm-hmm.
and then able to discern that and then take the energy and transmute it,
right,
helping them transmute it, because
mm-hmm.
we're helping the client transmute their own energy. They don't think that,
mm-hmm.
but that's what it is. So when I have the best client is one who really wants it.
Mm-hmm.
They're open, because they're the ones who are going to get the best results.
Right.
Someone who comes in, they may feel a little something, but they may feel rested, but they're going to be getting off that table thinking, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
But they're going to feel something because my intention is still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
For them to heal.
Mm-hmm.
So I do what my favorite healing is energy medicine.
Okay.
That goes deeper.
Okay.
So that's identifying more medical issues. Not everybody will do that because they're not comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I connect with that deeply. Traumas, which Reiki does, but Reiki is more gentle. Reiki is about relaxing and bringing, that light healing. Energy medicine, and I know you're going to get this because I'm like, let's get in there,
mm-hmm.
right? I like getting deep, getting to the, meat and potatoes of it all, and trying to make sense of how to transmute that. And I help them transmute that.
Okay.
And we give it up to God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or source or spirit. But for me, it's always giving it up to God because God's going to take that.
Yeah. So what was the most profound moment for you? Like, what was the most impactful? They were like, oh my God, Karen, you really changed my life when you did this. I never even knew what this was. And then I had my session with you and literally 360, I feel like, or 180, I should say. I feel so different. What is that? What was that experience for you?
It was honestly, when I was being trained, I'm not supposed to be charging. I'm supposed to be doing it on friends and family. Mm-hmm. And I found cancer in 2 friends, breast cancer.
Oh,
and that was like, one, I was destroyed because I thought, I'm like, oh, I don't want to know.
mm-hmm.
How did I find that? What was it supposed to be found now? Mm-hmm. Like it actually took me out a little bit. Because then in that moment, my ego kicked in for a second and was like, I'm all powerful. What the hell? What am I doing? Right. And I know I'm not. But because I know that my intentions are right and I am open and have a direct line, I realized after, obviously, it was only minutes that went into my head. But some people go there.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on my friend and I was like, have you been for a mammogram lately? She went, fuck you. She goes, I just went yesterday and everything's fine. No call, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. I left it. Continued working on her, went back up to the area to see what I feel again. And I literally, in my mind's eye, I could feel like it felt big, but it wasn't. Mm-hmm. But for me, it felt like this big lump. And I was like, geez, do I say anything again? Do I get her nervous? And I was like, just leave it alone. You already said it once, mm-hmm. Leave it be. And I am a hound, so I normally would be on that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know that.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. So I didn't say anything anymore. Mm-hmm. She said it was beautiful. It was wonderful, blah, blah, blah. She went home the next day. She gives me a call. She goes, fuck you, bitch. Stay out of my energy. And I was like, what's the matter? I said, are you okay? She's like, I just got a call. They found something on the mammogram and I have to go back. And I was like, okay. Time goes on again after that, maybe a year or so. Training. I'm not a master yet. I'm only Reiki 2. A client comes in that I've known since middle school since we were like 14. And I'm getting her ready, and something doesn't feel right. And in my head, I'm like, just mind your business, mind your business. This wasn't even a Reiki episode, but I always started each client with hands on shoulders, having them relax, sit back. It's their time. And they knew it. So I did that, and now I'm connected. And, you know, being in their energy. So I was like, Rose was her name, is her name. I said, Rose, have you had a mammogram lately? And she was like, what, you touching me when I don't know what's happening here, right? It was a joke. We played it off. And she was like, yeah, I've already had it. I'm fine. I said, okay. So 2 weeks go by. She comes in for her next appointment because they would come every 2 weeks. She comes in for her next appointment with this big basket full of wine and Portuguese cheeses. So she's from my city, right? So she's Portuguese. She's bringing me all the things I love. And she's like, all right, 1, stay out of my body. 2, my surgeon told me to thank you for saving my life.
Wow.
And I was like, what are you talking about? Because again, now it's out of my mind.
Right.
She said, I was feeling a sort of way when I left, and it really, really worried me. So I called my surgeon because she's had issues before. I took I had my stuff transferred from radiology, and he said, your hairdresser saved your life.
Wow.
And I was like, holy balls.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like beside myself. That's not the first time, but that's the first time within learning being traditional. It was more like, I feel like you have a knee problem, and I could feel the heat. This was like specific breast cancer. Like I knew it.
Well, you tapped in. Do you think you were tapped in intuitively as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So you do merge it all.
Everything. I use every tool in my toolbox. So even though I'm doing energy medicine, if I need to use a symbol or something from something else, I bring it in, because to me, it's like, I have all of this. I'm not going to just say because I'm doing this that I'm not going to add it. I'll take everything that is there. And I see a lot of symbols when I'm meditating or I'm in someone else's energy. I don't always know what the symbols mean. So even when I'm doing Reiki, I don't know what the symbols mean because they're not the traditional symbols, but they must mean something.
Right. Okay. I was going to ask, because I'm over here thinking about the Reiki part. When you started Reiki, it was definitely before the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So when the pandemic came around, how were you able to continue to connect with people I wanted to know, how were you able to
very difficult to, and it shouldn't have been, because we know energy goes where it needs to. And I kept on going back to prayer, right? When my son was born, he was in the hospital in Rhode Island, and I lived in Massachusetts. And I would send prayers. Everybody would send prayers, and my boy made it. Prayer, energy, intention goes where it needs to. And then I spoke to a few people who had been doing it online forever. And well, before I started anyway. And they were like, what is your problem? I'm like, that doesn't feel right. It's not right. She's like, it's in your head. I was like, okay. And then, I thought about it. I meditated over it. I prayed over it. I did all the things. And I was like, fuck yeah, you're right. It is that, whether I'm with you or not. It's the intention and the flow of the energy. That's all it is. Yeah. So that changed everything. And is it different than in person? Absolutely, because we use bowls. We put the bowls on the people. I mean, we have instruments, and it is different in person. But the energy of the session is the same, except not all the bells and whistles.
Okay. So with the shift of that, how were you, or how do you prepare energetically or mentally prepare yourself to get ready to do this type of work? Like, how do you prepare yourself?
Okay, so if the way that my appointments go, I already know the day before, 2 days before, that I'm going to work on this particular person. I'm already meditating with them in mind. I'm preparing myself that way. If I get any like leads in my head that I need to focus on, I'll write them down. I have a whole uh, uh, paperwork that I fill out. So I'll put already what I feel like we need to work on, and then I'll speak to the client, and then I write notes afterwards.
Okay.
But how I prepare is just being in their energy prior. I meditate. Sometimes I'll pull cards, see where they're at mentally or situationally. Yeah, and I do use Florida water. I bless my whole room with holy fire. I go around and do the holy fire symbol all the way around, protect my space. I don't use sage much because of my breathing. But, again, if I am doing any kind of Reiki over something, I'm preparing as if I was saging in a way. But yeah, that's how I prepare. I prepare with their name in mind, their energy in mind, meditate. And I'm to the point where I see so much more of their energy prior, and it comes in ways that I can't even explain, almost unexplainable. So I feel like right now, especially, I'm doing healings that I don't even know what I'm doing as far as like in the moment. I'm just in it. Like I feel like I'm in a trance or
just like in a flow, just and then you just flowing, you're just going. So
yes,
it's so natural to you.
right. If there's no
You just
thinking
go.
involved,
Yeah, yeah.
it's all feeling.
Yeah, it just literally feels natural to you to do this. So I feel like you probably could have done this years
Of
ago if you would
course,
have known about it. If you would
yeah.
have known about it. So if you were to tell your 21-year-old self about this, what would you say? Like if you were to go to your 21-year-old self back
I
then.
was not in the space.
Mm-hmm.
I was starting my career as a hairdresser. I was so focused. I eat, slept, drank. I would envision ways I was going to do things. I wasn't in the space to enter this, but I would have hoped that I could talk myself into that because I think my life would have been so much different. There's so much clarity in this, and you understand. You just under it's a universal understanding, healing, and I would hope that I could have people around me that would support that. But Reiki at the time,
Yeah. If your 21-year-old self was to meet you and you were to tell her this, what would she have said?
shut up. Shut up. And then I'd be like, and then I'd be
Out of
like,
here.
oh, you're right. I do that. You're right. I think I could be convinced if they asked me questions, if I asked her questions on, do you do this? Would you think about that? What do you think about that? And then bring me to that aha moment. I think it could have been possible, but I think I would have said, shut up. I can't do
that. Nobody would have been able to convince you. You're not even your you now self.
I think it would be really difficult.
Okay.
Unless they knew me where that they could touch me in a way that would make sense.
Okay, so I want to pivot a little bit to the mediumship side of it. When you knew as a medium, like what made you really pull or go into that space of being a medium?
I tried to develop many times in mediumship.
Okay.
It just wasn't hitting. It wasn't the person wasn't for me. I wasn't for the person. The energy in the room, a lot of know-it-alls, they know everything. Then why you're in the class. If you're past this, go to the next class, right? Never comfortable. And I just felt like how they were teaching just didn't connect with me. And I know later on we had the same teacher. Yeah. But I knew because I was connecting already, but with no understanding on how to maneuver around it. Like, how do I pull it in? It just pops in. It would be one of those things that was like, oh, I got your grandmother. I don't know how I got there. It just happened. So it was not consistent where now I can pull it in.
So when you do your mediumship now, like, okay, so what Claire would that like with your clairs starting to develop? Because you say you were already kind of tapped in a little bit. So what part of that, or which clair was that you noticed you every time you tap in or you connect, it's always this way. I'm always getting it clairvoyantly, or I'm always getting it claircognitive. Like, how was it always for you,
How
with
to
those
start.
energies coming, yeah, with those energies coming in?
First thing that would happen is I would get a throat thing. My throat would like feel funny, tighten, choking. And it was almost the way that spirit would like say, ding, 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 you're getting something. It's like my antennas, my throat.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I might see something in my mind's eye, then I might just know something. So I think clairvoyantly, claircog, and then I would feel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big feeler. That's like my superpower. But I wouldn't know then.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what Clara was at the time. But I definitely feel like I would feel it first in my throat. Then I would kind of see it. So clairvoyant, clairsentient, when the throat would come in was more like just like a wake up. And then once I realized I had something, I'd be like, oh, I feel this. So then clairsentient. So I think if we have to go first, it would be clairvoyant.
Mm-hmm.
For like a second,
Mm-hmm.
I would see it.
Okay. All right. So what was the most profound reading as a medium have you ever encountered? The most profound, like, oh my God, the one that really shook you up.
Um, I've had a few. One was um, one was knowing that the husband was poisoning the wife, and I could not understand it because again, my biggest issues in mediumship or in uh, my psychic side
Mhm.
is understanding what spirit is showing me and then trying to bring that information forward because a lot of things for me is sometimes it's a cartoon.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just, I can't make out what that is, but I know something is wrong, something is bad, but I don't know how to explain it or something, right? So I kept on seeing like this thing and I'm like, what is that? But it felt evil.
Mhm.
Um, and then I could see the person's body. Um, then I knew like someone else was involved and that kind of thing. And then another one was I actually was able to give the spot that the body was in, that
Mm.
the body was at.
Mhm. Mhm.
So like things like that. But I think recently I was doing a combination of psychic and mediumship, and so loud, and I could see it in big neon letters in my head, 16, 16. And I'm like, is that 16 just the number? Is that an age? And I was like, no, that like it came to me. Thank you, Spirit. Hey, that's 16 is relevant. And
Mhm.
then finding out what had happened at that time, all the ins and outs of it. Again, trying to discern that the church, this, that, so many people and so many things were involved. So putting that all together and keeping that understanding of trying to figure it out and putting it together was key for me. It was like an aha moment.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. When you hear about different mediums or people that are trying to connect with mediums, what do you hear is the most taboo thing? Like, what do they consider, or what do they say? Oh my God, your mediums can't do this, and you have to be the one to, give them I don't want to say correct information, but like educate them.
Evidence,
Yeah, evidence.
real
Right.
evidence. Right,
Okay.
exactly. So I definitely feel some people give much more general
Mm-hmm.
information. And if they can't connect, they always blame the sitter.
What would be
And
an example of evidence? What would be an example of general information versus evidence?
your mother's here, she's happy. Um, playing bingo,
What?
asking questions, getting answers. Yep, I have that. Yep, I have that. So if that happens to me, I'll just say that's not evidence that I'm giving you, but I did have that, but it's not evidence now.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
it cancels out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So giving general, like she's happy, I see a car. Everybody can see a car. Okay,
Right.
I get that. But
Right.
if you gave a number of the car, like what year it is, that would be better evidence.
Mm-hmm.
What color it was. Well, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, what were you doing while with this car would be
Mm-hmm.
evidence, right? Not just the car.
Mm-hmm.
Like being very general.
Yeah.
Somewhere in your 20s, you decided to, like very general without, like if I said somewhere in your 20s, you decided to open up your own business. They were like, yes, how did you know?
Right.
Okay. But there's nothing following. It's more leading the
Mm.
client. Don't you think?
Yeah. So it's kind of like being fed the information, or you're fishing for the
You're
information.
fishing. You're fishing. That's it. That was the
Yeah.
word I could not think
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
fishing for the information. So if you say, "Oh my God, yeah, you opened up a restaurant," would you understand the restaurant being a Sicilian restaurant?
Right. I
You
see
had 10
Italian. Right.
employees there. Yeah, yeah. So I definitely understand that as far as being more detailed with
Yeah. And
that.
even if it's just one part of the detail that you get, it's still that point. You're on
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
it.
All right. Um, okay, because you kind of already discussed coming out as far as your family already knew that you were already doing this. They were already open to it because a lot of people still stay hidden and they're so afraid to just be out here to say, yes, I can do this, even if they don't call themselves a medium or call themselves a Reiki healer or anything like that. But just coming out a little bit, what would you tell somebody that is watching this will say that wants to know, like, oh my God, I still have to stay hidden. I've been hidden for like 2 years and because I don't want my parents to disown me or I don't want to feel, shunned. What would you
Yeah.
give, what advice would you give somebody that is looking, that's probably listening to this podcast right now and saying, you know what, that's encouraging. That probably will help me out.
Yeah. I think that it's a tough place to be in because you hid for so long. Um, and I think it will be different for everyone. But I feel like being unapologetically yourself and owning who you are is key. Now, that's not helping anybody, in the moment because they're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the truth. Like, I owned it at a very young age. Like, my friends, when I was a teenager, would say, what do you think? Do you see this? I'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, I'd tell them the information. So it's like, it's been known for so long. Um, I had to tell my doctor what I did. They asked me, what do you do for a living? I said, I work from home. Well, what do you do? I work online. Well, what does that entail? I was like, oh, fuck me. And
Here
I
we
got to
go.
tell him. I said, listen, I'm a psychic. I'm a medium. So he was like, really? I said, yes. He goes, I love that.
See,
Wasn't
it was
expecting that.
already setting up.
Yeah.
Spirit is so smart. I love
Yeah.
Spirit for that. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Karen.
And so I just don't know. Honestly, I have a lot of friends whose family does not agree with this. They're not open to it. They'll disown you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would rather be disowned
Mm-hmm.
and be myself than having to hide everything that I am. But that's just me. So I don't know if that helps anybody. But
Mm-hmm.
I realized over the last decade, I've been trying to just be who I am. And I've hit it so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just in the spiritual realm of things, it's just being who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't want to do that anymore. So
Right.
hiding is painful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. So I know that doesn't really help.
No, it does. It probably really does help someone because they, a lot of people, again, they just don't know how to maneuver. I've had a student that asked me, I want to tell everybody in my family about what I do. And I said, okay, well, what do you think they'll say in response to it? Some of them may not like it. Some of them, I said, so why go and tell them? Why not just allow your fruit to just bear your fruit? And then when they do see it, they ask you, they come to you without you poking the bear, allow them
Mm-hmm.
to come to you and say, "Hey, what is that you just did? What? Oh my God, how did you know that?" To get the conversation started. Like, don't start the
Give it a
conversation.
little,
Let them start. Yeah,
right,
yeah. Give them a little
right,
bit, but let them start the conversation. Let them have the curiosity because I want you to still be you in this, and not truly hide, but allow the fruit to just show, just
right, naturally,
naturally. Exactly.
organically. The other
Yes.
thing, the other thing is finding community that can
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you have people to talk to and express how you're feeling or just guide you.
Right. Right.
Their
Yeah.
experiences, that would help.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. I agree. Um, I I wanted to ask you too, because now that you've been doing this, how long have you been doing this now? For
Which
about
one?
all of this, stepping out as far as like being the
Like,
Reiki master, being
yeah,
the
probably,
medium.
you know, let's see, maybe 12 years.
Oh, okay. So it's about 12 years now. All right. So say we're in 2024. So what would you okay, so if you're 2020, well, not 2020, if your 2044 self came back from time, from the future to come to talk to you, what would you want to ask that Karen?
Um, I would, as I always ask God, God, I don't understand where I am. What's next for me? I feel like there's still more I need to know. What
Hmm.
is it? And they would say to me, I'm not going to tell you because that's your journey to
Hmm.
find out. That's my opinion of
Hmm.
what would happen. But I would just say, I probably would want to know, am I doing the right things?
Hmm.
Am I helping people? Was this the right journey for me? And I think I mean, I already know the answer. I don't think I know.
Hmm.
And they would say yes. I think they would say yes.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So you wouldn't want to know the journey. It's just, am I doing the right thing right now?
Because I know every
That
time
kind of
I
answers it.
begged God
Yeah.
to tell me, it never happened.
Okay, all right. So we're getting ready to close our episode. Right now, what is your, because I know your family, I know your husband, I know your daughter, your son as well, but what do they say about what you do now? How do they look at you as a parent? I will say your kids mostly. How do they look at you, your children, as you do this more and more? Like, what do they
Yeah.
think about you?
Yeah. So they've known this since we were kids, since they were kids. And they also are very much like me in that way. Um, they are so supportive. They are like, ask my mother, like they know to direct friends to me.
Hmm.
They trust my discernment.
Hmm.
So encouraging, so loving about it, so protective. Uh, and, if they could put me on a pedestal so everybody could see me, they would.
Mm.
Not on a pedestal like they picking me up and put me on a
Right,
pedestal.
right,
No, but they would lift me up so everybody could see my shine.
right, right, right. Oh, Karen, I
Yeah.
love that. I actually love that. So would you say that that would be the most what would be the most rewarding part of all of this?
Uh, the most rewarding part of all of this, is the feeling of healing,
Hmm.
the feeling of love from my family and friends, regardless of um, whether they like it or not, right? But my family support is everything for me,
Hmm. Hmm.
because I think that would be difficult. But
Mm.
helping others heal, whether we do psychic readings, whether we do mediumship, whether we do a healing session,
Hmm.
I mean, that's where it's at for me.
Right.
It's all about giving. I'm all about the global, everybody. And I'm also about, bringing women forward and letting them shine. Even if they shine brighter than me, I don't care. Get up there. I am going to hold you up. Stand on my hands. I'm
Hello.
not, that for me is everything. I want women to prosper.
Yes, I'm so there with you on that, Karen. Oh my God, I'm so there with you on that. And I love
I know
that.
you are.
Yeah, I'm really big on women empowerment and affirming women and pushing the women. Fellas, I mean, we love you still,
But
but
you were already ahead.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Exactly, exactly. All right, y'all. So we're coming to the close of this episode. Karen, where can everybody find you? Like, go ahead and put your socials and all the things where they can find you, friend.
Whether it be TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram. I know I have to get on my YouTube.
Mhm.
You can get me on there at Spill the Tarot. All the information is in my link in the bio.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Oh, and you guys, she is also my tarot instructor. She taught me tarot. So when you guys see me go live and do tarot, she really was the pusher for me. And she
Yes.
taught me so much about tarot. Y'all have no idea. I have so much information in my brain.
I was going to say, you had really a class that was like shoved like
Yeah,
so much in such a short time.
she's been
So
practiced so
that
much.
was a lot. That was a
Yeah,
lot.
but it was good. It was really, really good. It really, really was good. And I have to let everybody know, the world know that Spill the Tarot, she is also a tarot instructor and she taught.
Yes. And I'll be having classes starting end of January.
Yes. So guys, 2025, January 2025, y'all jump in that class. It is going to be worth it. She talks about details that nobody else talk about. She is very, very thorough. A true Virgo. I'm gonna just
Yeah.
say that. A
And
true
then the second class now that I do is I take everything you learned and
and throw you out there. Oh, throw it
and
away.
yeah, using your intuition, your
Uh,
psychic abilities,
yeah.
really
Yeah.
tuning in.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Really doing more psychic. Everybody's like, "Oh, why you have cards?" And I remember we said that about you a few months ago. Like, Karen, you don't need cards anymore, friend. Like, you're
I
beyond the
do,
cards.
I do exactly.
I thank you so much, Karen,
This
for
was
being
fun. Thank
here.
you.
Thank
Thank you,
you for,
Ermi.
being here for me. And thank you so much. I don't even know what to say, y'all. This is my circle sister. We do circle sessions. We do circle sessions. So it's been what, 2 years? We've been on chill on ice for a while, but we starting to get it back going again because we do feel empowered when we connect with each other. So
Absolutely. You build up the energy together.
yep, we build that power, that energy, you guys. So
Absolutely.
definitely, definitely, y'all go ahead and check her out on TikTok and all the other platforms. You will not be disappointed at all. Okay. So we're gonna
Thank
go ahead and
you.
end this episode. Thank you so much, Karen, for showing up for me and thank you for being here for everybody else. Again, guys, check her out. She's amazing. One of my faves. Okay. Got her on speed dial if y'all ain't know. Anyway, let me stop. Have a great time, guys. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey, hey, hey. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you find this episode helpful and inspiring. If you're feeling called to dive deeper into your spiritual journey, I'd love to support you. You can book a one-on-one session with me to get personalized guidance or join my mediumship courses to connect with your own intuitive gifts. Head over to ermiseas.com to explore all of the options. Remember, your spiritual growth starts with a single step, and I'm here to walk with you every step of the way. Until next time, trust your intuition and stay connected.